hana hanai. He hana hanai ale paakaila. He uli kalai ai ponuila. Hana hele ho'io ai ponuila. Talele o nalani he no alai. He hana hanai ale paakaila. He uli kalai ai ponuila. Hana hele ho'io ai ponuila. Talele o nalani he no alai. Hey Noah, no kalele o nalani.
No one knows exactly when the first humans stepped ashore in the Hawaiian Islands. The first wave of Polynesians is thought to have arrived over 1,500 years ago. From the chants that have survived, we know that the early inhabitants were absolutely filled with awe at the majestic beauty of this land. What the Hawaiians discovered were the most distant islands on the planet. Islands that had been 5 million years in the making, with plants and animals unlike any they had ever seen. It has not always been so. In fact, life was slow to take hold in this isolated place. In the beginning, there was only lava. Nothing lived here. Occasionally, a microscopic fern spore or minute wind-blown insect drifted down from the sky to settle upon the cooling lava. Other seeds arrived with the waves that incessantly wash onto our shores. Still other seeds and insect eggs hitchhiked, attached to the feathers and feet of migrant seabirds and shorebirds. These colonization events were not daily, weekly, or even yearly occurrences. Scientists speculate a successful colonization by an insect or plant happened only once every 10,000 years. The few organisms delivered by the winds and waves across the mighty Pacific to the freshly emerged Hawaiian Islands entered into an intense competition for resources. Under the influence of time and isolation, life exploded. A few ferns became over 100 different species, more than any place on Earth. A small number of seeds evolved into more than 1,000 different species of flowering plants, some beautiful beyond expression. More than 10,000 species of insects have been classified, and many more are, as yet, unidentified. It was not until 1778, when Captain James Cook happened upon Hawaii, that the Western world became aware of this unique flora and fauna. When John Ledyard, a passenger traveling on that ship, ventured into the mountain forest, he remarked that the birds he saw had the liveliest and most variegated plumage of any he had ever met with. When the European scientific community learned of the newly discovered Hawaiian birds, they sent collectors to bring back specimens for their museums. It soon became apparent to the taxonomists among them that many of the specimens they collected did not easily fit into the currently established structure of nature. In bill shapes, feeding habits, and plumage, they were all so different. Some took only nectar, or honey as they described it. Some crept along branches in search of insects, while others ate only fruit or seeds. A whole new subfamily had to be created to accommodate them. Informally, they call them honey creepers. The astounding thing is that all are thought to have evolved from a single pair of finch-like birds that arrived in the islands long ago. perhaps delivered by a mighty hurricane. Over 70 distinct species of honey creepers once lived here. Today, only 16 are known to exist. The most common among them is the Apapane. It is often seen flying high above the forest canopy in search of the brilliant red lehua flowers of the ohia tree. This Hawaiian honey creeper is also a gifted singer. Biologists who study this beautiful native bird are impressed with the almost endless variety of song it has to offer. The whirring noise the Apapane makes with its wings also contributes to its repertoire, although it prefers the nectar of the lehua blossom. It can occasionally be seen in the understory, feeding on the flowers of other native and alien plants. The Apapane is red with black wings and tail. The bill is black, short, and slightly decurved. The legs are also black. The belly and undertail coverts are white. The Apapane is a quick-moving bird and not easily approached. It is common at high elevations on all main islands, except for Lanai, where it is rare. The I'iwi, extinct on Lanai and nearly so on Molokai and Oahu, is still relatively common in the high native forests of Maui and the Big Island. The I'iwi feeds on a variety of nectar sources. The flowers of ohia, mamani, and ohelo are a few, but the long salmon-colored bill is a perfect match for pollinating the curved blossoms of native lobelias. Immature birds are speckled with green, black, and yellow. Once valued for its bright red plumage, this handsome bird held an important role in Hawaiian culture. It is estimated that the feathers of 30,000 i'iwi were used to produce a single cape to adorn the ali'i. A collector on a visit to the islands a century ago noted that native boys caught the i'iwi by hiding in the bushes with a curved flower held between thumb and forefinger. When the bird inserted its long curved bill, the boys pinched and held fast to their prize. The akohe-kohe, or crested honey creeper, is restricted to the native forest high on the northeastern slope of Haleakala on the island of Maui. In poor or backlit light, this odd honey creeper looks very much like a large Apapane. It is mostly black overall, with silver feathers accenting the breast. The bill and legs are black. There is a large red patch behind the head and a large orange ring encircles the eye. A prominent white crest adorns the head. The unusual song consists of croaks, buzzes, and whistles. It is fairly common in the Waikamoi Preserve, but access to this Nature Conservancy property is strictly prohibited. The kiwikiu, or Maui parrotbill, is a rare honey creeper that inhabits the wet forest high on the windward slopes of Haleakala. It forages in the subcanopy, where it uses its heavy hooked bill to crush dead and rotting branches in search of insect larvae. The sexes are fairly similar. They are yellow-green above, lighter underneath. A broad yellow stripe above the eye extends from the base of the bill to the back of the head. The bill is pink overall, the top mandible darker. Legs and feet are black. The loud, upslurred chirwee call and the snap of branches are useful in locating the bird in the thick shrubs of the subcanopy. The only place where it is possible to see this specialized endemic forest bird is along the boardwalk in the Waikamoi Preserve, but access to this Nature Conservancy property is strictly prohibited without an authorized guide. The palila has a heavy finch-like bill and a dark mask. The head and breast of the adult male are bright yellow. It is white underneath with a gray back. The palila feeds almost exclusively on the immature seed pods of the mamani tree and on the fruit and flowers of nayo. When feeding on mamani, the bird pulls a pod from the tree, flies to a nearby branch, and while gripping the pod with its feet, it rips open the tough hull to get at the seeds inside. The process often takes several minutes to accomplish. The call, a 2 or 3 note whistle, is extremely useful in locating this endangered honey creeper. The palila inhabits an area of mamani and nio forest high on the dry slopes of Mauna Kea, known as Pu'ula'au. Access to Pu'ula'au is not restricted, but a 4-wheel drive vehicle is required to enter the area. The endangered Akiapola'au can only be found in the high native forest of the Big Island. This beautiful short-tailed honey creeper is a thrill to watch when it is foraging among the trees and shrubs. With behavior much like that of a woodpecker, it hammers away with the lower mandible at larva-infested branches to find the grub hidden within. It then uses the long curved upper mandible to dig the larva out. Males are green above. The head and abdomen are yellow. Females are duller. The bill and the legs are black in both sexes. The lores are black. Most sightings of this uncommon bird are from Hakalau Forest National Wildlife Refuge or along the Pu'u'o'o Trail. There have, however, been rare reports of this bird from Kipuka 21 along the Saddle Road and from Pu'ula'au. The Kauai Amakihi is one of that island's most common forest endemics. The Amakihi in Hawaii exists in several distinct species, one on Oahu, one on Kauai, and a third that has been divided further into 2 subspecies, one representing the Big Island, and the other the combined Maui, Molokai, and Lanai group of islands. The Kauai Amakihi has the longest and thickest bill of the 4. It can easily be recognized by its call, 2 separate notes, the second higher in pitch. With its multi-purpose bill, it feeds on a variety of sources. It seeks insects beneath the bark of trees, takes nectar from native flowers in the understory, and has even adapted to feeding on introduced fruits like Java plum and alien flowers like those of the banana poka. A hike along the Pihea Trail often produces this small green bird. The Hawaii Amakihi differs somewhat from the Kauai form. The color is similar, although some observers think that the Big Island bird is brighter green. But the bill is shorter, thinner, and not as down-curved as Hemignathus kauaiensis. It's also similar to size to the introduced Japanese white-eye, a species that is abundant in the native forest of Hawaii. To separate the two, it is important to remember that none of Hawaii's small endemic honey creepers has a white eye ring. Like the Oahu Amakihi, the Big Island Amakihi is somewhat resistant to avian malaria. A few birds have been seen at low elevations. Easy roadside locations to see the Hawaii Amakihi are Volcanoes National Park and Kipuka 21. The Anianiau is the smallest of all Hawaiian honey creepers. Males are bright yellow and females are yellowish green. Its short, slightly curved, pink bill is adapted for feeding on the flowers produced by such endemic plants as the ohelo, kanavau, and naupaka kuahivi. Anianiau often feed in a circuit. Birds return to feed at the same plant and even the same flower throughout the day. This small yellow bird can readily be identified by its call, a soft, slurred, 2-note whistle rising in pitch. It can only be seen in the upland forest on the island of Kauai. The Anianiau is still one of the most common endemic birds encountered along the Pihea Trail, but the population is not as robust as a decade ago. The Maui Alau Hio is found only on the high slope of windward Haleakala. When observing this small honey creeper, North American birders will be reminded of a warbler. Adult males are yellow-green above and bright yellow below. Females are duller. The bill is short and straight. Unlike the bold black lores of the Maui Amakihi, there's only a faint black smudge between the bill and the eye of the Maui Alau Hio. The bill and legs of both sexes are light pink, darker in immature birds. Also known as the Maui creeper, it often travels in flocks that can be located by listening for the short repeated chip call. The Maui alau hio rarely takes nectar. Birds are usually seen, actively foraging among leaves and branches for insects. An easy place to see this species is in the mamani and pukiawi shrubs or in the tall exotic trees at Hosmer Grove. No Hawaiian name is known for this small insectivore that is found only in the high mountain forest on the Big Island. The bird is deep olive green above, slightly paler below. The legs and bill are slate gray. It has broad black lores. It is similar in appearance to the Hawaii Amakihi, but the bill is straighter. Like its Kauai cousin, the Akikiki, the Hawaii creeper moves among the trunks and branches of trees and large shrubs, searching among the bark for spiders, beetles, and insect larvae. It frequently moves through the forest in the company of other small honey creepers like the Amakihi, Akepa, and Akiapola'au. The incessant begging of juveniles is helpful in locating this species. The only easily accessed location where it is possible to see the Hawaii creeper is at Kipuka 21 along the Saddle Road. Government agencies have reintroduced this species into this forest oasis in recent years. However, a sighting there remains unlikely. A more reliable option is a guided hike into the restricted Hakalau Forest National Wildlife Refuge. The Akikiki is found only on the island of Kauai. It feeds by creeping along the trunks and limbs of trees, where it probes the moss or crevices in the bark for hidden insects. The Kauai creeper, as it is often called, is dark gray above and white below. The bill and legs are pink. The tail is short. It travels through the wet forest in pairs or small family groups, the individuals of which call to each other as they feed. It occasionally associates with the Akeke and Anianiau and mixed species feeding flocks. The call is a very short, sweet, and resembles closely the call of the Akeke. The Akikiki is becoming increasingly rare. The chance of an encounter improves the farther one hikes into the Alakai Swamp. The upper end of the rugged Mohihi Wa'elai Trail, near the Kauai stream crossing, has historically been a good area to search for this endangered honey creeper. The Akeke is referred to by some as the Kauai Akepa. It resides only at high elevations on that island. A short, bluish-gray, conical bill and dark mask set it apart from the similarly sized Anianiau. The long tail is notched at the end. It feeds high in the canopy, where it forages in the buds and terminal leaf clusters of ohia trees in search of insects. Its bill, crossed at the tip, is uniquely adapted to open the closely spaced leaves. It rarely takes nectar. The Akeke often travels in small family groups that call back and forth to each other as they feed. It is a busy bird, constantly moving in and out of the leaves. The Hawaiian word akepa literally means active. This species certainly fits that description. Until recently, the Akeke could occasionally be seen foraging in the ohia trees at the Kalalau scenic viewpoints. A sighting there is still possible, but the population has declined to the point where the endangered akepa is now a very difficult bird to find. The male akakani is better known in the Hawaii birding community as a Hawaii akepa. It is bright orange with a long tail notched at the end. Like the Akeke, the bill is crossed or offset at the tip. The bill is a pale yellow-orange. The legs and feet are black. The Hawaii akepa often forages in mixed feeding flocks with the Hawaii creeper and Akiapola'au. This endangered species feeds in leaf clusters high in the ohia canopy or on larvae found in infested fruit like the ohelo, a common native shrub that grows in the subcanopy. The most reliable place to find the akakani is in the Hakalau Forest National Wildlife Refuge. In addition to Hawaii's famous honey creepers, 3 flycatchers and 2 thrushes complete the complement of native forest birds. The Elepaio is a favorite of many birders in Hawaii because it shows little fear of humans. An imitation of its call will sometimes entice juveniles to approach close enough to touch. The Kauai species is gray-brown above and pale below, with a diffuse orange wash on the breast. Immature birds are rusty-colored. In its search for insects, this adaptable bird feeds in a variety of habitats. It can dart through the understory to catch flies and moths in the air, or forage high in the canopy for arthropods hidden among the leaves. As is common with many old world flycatchers, the nest of the Elepaio is spotted with lichen. A walk along the Pihea Trail will often produce this friendly bird. The Hawaii Elepaio is the most boldly marked of the three species in Hawaii. Like the Kauai and Oahu species, adults have a white rump and 2 white wing bars. The Big Island Elepaio has additional white speckling on the breast, throat, and head. In females, the throat is nearly all white. In males, it is white, but speckled with black. Some birds in the drier forest on Mauna Kea are paler overall, with more white on the head. As with other endemic forest birds, the Hawaii Elepaio is mostly a bird of the high-altitude forest. However, a few sightings have occurred at low elevations. Kipuka 21, Pu'u'o'o Trail, and Maunuka State Wayside Park are good places to search for this perky flycatcher. The classic tail-up pose is usually the first key to identifying this bird. The oma'o is found only on the Big Island, where it is common in the wet forest on the high eastern slopes of Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. A few birds have also been reported in drier areas on these 2 mountains. The other islands in Hawaii each had a distinct species of endemic thrush. All except the puaiohi and oma'o are gone. It is light brown above and gray below. The oma'o is difficult to see when perched motionless on a large ohia or koa tree. Fortunately, it has a loud, fluid-like song and a raspy call that often gives away its position. The oma'o also has the curious habit of quivering its wings when perched. Look for it feeding on olapa or pilo fruit in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park or at Kipuka 21 on the Saddle Road. The puaiohi, or small Kauai thrush, is an extremely rare endemic frugivore found only on the island of Kauai. It is dark gray-brown above and pale gray-brown below. The legs are pink. The bill is slender and black. A faint white eye ring is present. Immature birds are heavily scalloped below. The puaiohi prefers deep, narrow valleys and the wet forest, where it nests in cavities in the steep fern-covered cliffs. The likelihood of seeing this species in the Kokei area is extremely poor. However, birds propagated in captivity are occasionally released into the Kawai stream valley. As with the Akikiki, the chances of an encounter increases the farther one hikes into the Alakai swamp. A hike along the Mohihi Waialae Trail may offer better opportunities to see this elusive species. What happened to the rest of Hawaii's native forest birds? The reasons for the loss of so many are varied and complex. Introduced pigs and goats are to blame for huge losses in forest bird habitat. On the Big Island, mouflon sheep have grazed whole mountainsides bare. In some places, all that remains are lifeless skeletons of a once great forest. Even in the most remote native forest, invasive plants encroach like a cancer. Kahili ginger is perhaps the worst. In places, the forest floor has become a sea of ginger, crowding out and displacing native plants. Moreover, its large yellow blossoms are unappealing to our native nectivorous birds. Introduced birds compete for limited resources with native species. 4 of the more commonly heard birds in our upland forests are alien. The Mejito, or Japanese wide-eye, feeds on the same flowers preferred by the Iiwi and Amakihi. the white-rumped shama, was first released in the islands in 1931. It is now widely distributed on all islands except Maui and the Big Island. Many consider the song of this species the most beautiful of all of Hawaii's birds. The huame, or melodious laughing thrush, was a favorite cage bird of Chinese immigrants to Hawaii. This introduced species is well established in lowland and mountain habitats. The vocalizations of the huame are loud repeated phrases. Both of these thrushes are frugivores that compete for food resources like the akala with the oma'o and puaiohi. The red-billed leothrix, or Peking nightingale as it was once called, is common on Maui, Oahu, and the Big Island. It travels about the forest in small, noisy family groups. It, too, has a fondness for native fruit. Introduced predators have taken and continue to take a huge toll. The black rat, or roof rat, first came to the islands as a stowaway aboard foreign whaling ships. Once it got ashore, its numbers exploded. These agile tree climbers prey upon the eggs and nestlings of native birds. The mongoose was intentionally introduced by sugar planters in an attempt to control the rat's destructive impact on their crops. But the mongoose preys on birds as well. But the most harmful invader by far is the smallest, mosquito-borne avian disease. The Hawaii of old had no mosquitoes. The mosquito vector is thought to have been introduced to the islands in the 1830s by the crew of whaling vessels in the process of refilling their water barrels in lowland streams. The malarial parasite and viral pox came with introduced foreign birds like the house sparrow and house finch. Mosquitoes feed at night on roosting birds, biting them around the eye and on exposed feet, thus spreading this insidious pestilence. Most endemic birds have little immunity. The beautiful i'iwi succumbs about a week after being bitten. Apapane fall to the ground with huge sores on their feet, no longer able to grip branches or to feed. Nevertheless, some of the beautiful birds celebrated in song and dance in these islands can still be seen in the high mountain forests. There, the ohia and koa are alive with their calls. Today, collectors of a different sort frequent the uplands of Hawaii. Birders, eager to add new species to their list, come from far-off places for the opportunity to see Hawaii's famous birds. Perhaps it is time to see for yourself what was so precious to those who named them.